All right, guys, so since I've kind of degenerated into this NFT space, one of the questions that I get asked most frequently is how do I find upcoming NFT projects and how do I make an assessment as to whether they potentially will be any good or not? So in this video, I'm going to share with you the sources that I use to find these projects and also explain to you how I analyze each project to see whether it's something that I want to get involved in or not. But before I jump into the video, there are two things I just want to touch on. One, if you want to see my latest NFT calls, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Darren the Degen. I think I'll pop up a banner around about there somewhere so you guys can see my @name. And also at the end of the video, I'll be sharing with you my latest NFT that I'm going to be jumping into later today. The pre-sale is later today and the public launch is in a day or two. So make sure you stick around for that if you want to see the next NFT project that I'm going to be diving into. So in this video, we're going to focus on Ethereum and Solana. So there's NFTs on Ethereum and there's NFTs on Solana. So I'm going to show you the two or the three websites I use to find those upcoming projects. We're then going to go through a few of those projects and look at the different criteria that I use to assess each of those projects. So the first tool that I want to tell you about, or the first website, is called rarity.tools. This is probably the best known website for this on the internet at the moment. So if you go to rarity.tools, and although this is predominantly for Ethereum-based NFTs, you will still see Solana-based NFTs on it as well. So go to rarity.tools and then go to the upcoming link. And they do this one day at a time. They show you all of the NFTs that were sold yesterday, the ones that are coming up today, and also future projects as well. So it's a really great site for seeing a list of upcoming NFTs. There's two other sites as well you can use, which are just for Solana NFTs. So we have solanalysis.com/upcoming. So these will all be Solana based NFTs, and you can go through these to find ones you like the look of. I do quite like Sol Analysis as they include a thumbnail. There is another website called howrare.is/drops. And these give you a really good list, but there's no thumbnail, so you can't make a very quick assessment based on artwork alone. But you should never assess a project just on artwork, but I always prefer to get involved in projects where I actually do like the artwork. But pretty much these three websites work the same as a list of projects. You've got the same access to their Discord, Twitter, their website, and you can get a feel for what is happening. You can use these to find out whether these projects are any good. So in this video, I'm just going to focus on rarity.tools, and we'll go through a couple of examples to give you an idea of how this works. So what I do is every single morning, whilst I'm eating my breakfast usually, is jump onto rarity.tools/upcoming. And I go down and look at today's sales. And so I've got all of the images here, but what I'll just do is go through and click on all of these Discord links. So let me just click on a few of these now to open them up in other tabs, and I'll explain to you why I do this. So based on the NFTs I've seen so far and the ones that I've been monitoring over the past few weeks, I've kind of got a very loose criteria as to what I think is needed as a base foundation for these projects to take off. Now, this is not set in stone, and there will be projects that don't meet this criteria that go on to be successful. But certainly as a rule of thumb, I find this puts me in the right place. So the reason I click on all of these Discords is when you click on them, it will bring up the invite link to those Discord servers. And there's two things I want you to look at. One is how many members are currently online, and also how many members there are in total. So in my mind, the figures I'm loosely looking for are at least 5,000 people online, and usually that will mean at least 20,000 members in total. You have to remember for most of these NFTs, they're trying to sell 10,000 of them. So if you haven't got a big following in Discord, which is where the core community will pretty much always be for an NFT, you need probably at least 5,000 people to have a chance of selling those 10,000 NFTs, because if an NFT project launches and it doesn't sell out, like an NFT that I was looking at last night and I'll come back to later in this video, then you're going to struggle to actually make a profit, because if it doesn't sell out in the first place, where's the demand going to come from in the resale market? So that's why we need to have more demand than there is NFTs available, so they all sell out. And then there's a big fight over those NFTs on the secondhand market, and that's when the floor price increases, and hopefully you guys will make some money. So I would just close this straight away, being like, no, there's nowhere near enough members here to sell 10,000 NFTs. Now there will be some NFT drops which maybe have 5,000 or 8,000, so always check that out if there's a project that's of interest to you. But certainly something like this with only 909 and 2,000 members in total, I'll just close this straight away. So sometimes I have 15, 20 of these tabs over, and I'll just click through and just be like, nope, nope, nope. And what I'll do later in this video is show you some of the projects that I got involved in based on these figures. So that's the first thing, is the Discord stats. Now, just because this Discord stats might look promising, it doesn't mean that the Discord is full of good members. And I'll show you that later on in the video, because quite often some of these more unscrupulous NFT projects will use bots, or they'll buy followers to build out their community. So you want genuine community people who are going to buy these NFTs, not ones that are just there to bump up the numbers. There's a lot of people will use this as one of the criteria they use. The next thing I do is do exactly the same with their Twitter account. So my Twitter account number, I'm looking for at least 10,000 really subscribers. That's what I want to see. So I'd look at this and be like, look, there's no way these guys are going to sell out at launch. And this is the same project I just opened on the Discord. So this one, they've got 11,000 followers. So you think, okay, that's not a bad number to have. But one thing that you can do with Twitter, just like with Discord, you can buy followers. So click onto the tweets tab if you're not already on there. Look at their pinned tweet. So you're saying their pinned tweet, which is 9 hours old, with just under 12,000 followers, has 5 likes. So that says to me this community is not legit. So always look at the interaction. And again, I'm going to come back to the example from last night later on in this video to show you how I nearly got caught out on one of these projects that was doing exactly this and manipulating their figures. So those are the first 2 things, is the Discord count and the Twitter. And then we're going to look at the website itself. So let's just open up one of these. And there's 3 things I'm looking for on the website. One is looking at the artwork itself. So I'm looking at this artwork. I don't like that at all. Now, I'm not saying I'd rule out a project based on artwork alone, but certainly I prefer to like the artwork when I'm investing in a project. You've got to believe in the project, otherwise you're always going to doubt your investment. So artwork is the first thing. The next thing I look at is the roadmap. So it's no longer as simple as just creating an NFT anymore. People want to see future utility. So have a look at the roadmap to see what they're going to do post-launch. Are they going to get it listed in all of their main marketplaces? Are they going to develop some sort of token, maybe offer some sort of rewards? Are they going to offer future drops? Are they going to allow maybe breeding? Take a look at their roadmap. People want to see future utility if they're going to be holding these for a few weeks or a few months. So those are the first 2 things, so the artwork and the roadmap. And then finally, if they give you any information, try to find out about the team. Now, the majority of these projects will be launched by anonymous teams, so it's not a big problem if it is an anonymous team, providing everything else checks out. But if the team has doxed themselves, as they call it, actually revealed their identity, that is certainly a good sign that they're willing to put their name behind the project. Also, keep an eye on kind of scam projects in the past. You might see names that look similar to projects that are being launched now, and if you see a connection, always see that as a red flag. So on the website, you're looking at artwork, you're looking at the roadmap, and you're looking at the team. Now, this next tip is probably my favorite tip for checking out whether a project is something I want to get involved with. And this is not available on all NFTs. It depends on how they decide to launch it. But a lot of NFTs will have pre-sale. So they'll sell maybe 1,000 or 2,000 of those NFTs before they do the public launch. Now, if they do that NFT pre-sale maybe a day or 2 before the public launch, that gives you a really good opportunity to see what the resale market is like. So for example, some of these here, you can see they've got 2 times the pre-sale and then the sale. So let me go back to some of the ones from yesterday that we know have already launched, ones that have got a split between the pre-sale and then the actual sale. So at the top here, this pre-sale was today, so it's today, yesterday. I want one which yesterday. I wanted there to be a gap between the pre-sale and the sale. So some NFTs recently have done their pre-sale maybe half hour or a few minutes before the public sale. So this technique wouldn't really work. But ones where there's a day or so, for example here, Chain the Cats, they had a pre-sale at 5 p.m. yesterday, and then the actual sale is at 5 p.m. today. So what we want to do is see how these guys are getting on in the resale market. So if we go to OpenSea and we look up their project, and we'll be able to see how their pre-sale NFTs have resold before the public launch. Now, normally if there is hype behind the project, the pre-sales will go up in value, and I've seen floor prices really, really high sometimes. Sometimes an NFT that's sold for maybe 0.06 or 0.08 selling for kind of 3-4 times that before the public launch. But if we take this one as an example, they only released 100 in pre-sale, and they sold them for 0.06 ETH. But you can see here the floor price is currently 0.05, and they've only got a volume traded of 0.12 ETH. So that for me shows there is very little demand for this project. And the projects that I've used this technique on, I normally expect to see a volume traded of at least 100 ETH. The reason you want to see at least 100 ETH is that means that they can get verified on OpenSea when the project launches. But really, I want to see 200 or 300 ETH to show that there is some real demand in that resale market. So when the public launch comes, it will sell out, and then hopefully there'll be some floor price increases that everyone fights over the NFTs on OpenSea. So that is a really powerful technique. If there is a gap between pre-sale and public sale, see how much volume has been traded on the resale market on OpenSea, or if you're on Solana, whichever marketplace you're looking at. And also see the floor price, because the floor price should be well above that pre-sale minting price if there is good demand for that project. So coming back to the project that I nearly got caught out on last night, this is Wild Walls. I quite liked the website, and I went through the criteria that I spoke about earlier. So I clicked on to their Discord link. So if we just bring that up, you can see there's only 4,000 online, but when I joined yesterday, there was over 5,000 online, and I had 35,000 members, and I've seen previous NFT projects do really well with these types of stats. So that was a green flag for me. I then went on to their Twitter, and this is the post that they had pinned at the top of their Twitter page for a couple of days. So they had 829 likes. Let me just open up their profile and you can see how many followers they had. So they have just over 10,000 followers, which is kind of my minimum, like I said earlier on in the video. And this particular tweet had 829 likes, 856 retweets. So I thought, okay, they've got some social interaction. Now, I didn't do my full due diligence on this, because if I'd have scrolled down and started reading some of these comments, you'll start to see they aren't specific to this project. So, you should be able to invest in everything and diversify your portfolio. I have recently been adding new project influencers, and it just doesn't make sense. And if you go through some of these, where are we? There were some of these other ones. Woohoo, buy the dip. This isn't something you say on NFTs, not until it's launched maybe. Nice, actually, Amazon profitable future. These are bot responses, and I didn't actually catch this until a few minutes before launch. And if you follow me on Twitter, you'll put out a tweet saying abort, this looks suspect. And the thing that made it look suspect to me is I was following Discord up to launch, and the chat was very, very slow. Now, normally as you approach launch on the Discord, it will go crazy and you probably struggle to keep up with the messages, and then like 1 or 2 minutes before, the chat will normally grind to a halt as everyone's focusing on minting, not looking at Discord. But Discord never really got that busy, so that was kind of one red flag. And then the second red flag was when I come and looked at Twitter and saw these pretty much bot responses to the post that they had pinned. And at that point, I decided to pull the plug. I told everyone to abort on Twitter. And out of 10,000, I only sold a few hundred. So it was the right call, but they did nearly catch me out with their metrics on Discord and Twitter. So always do your own research and trust your gut feel, because in the end, that's what I went with. I went with my gut feel that said something is not right with this project. So to wrap this video up, I'm just going to share with you the project that I talked about earlier on in this video, and that is the one that I'm getting into the pre-sale later today. It officially launches on Tuesday. I've done my research on this project. I think it's going to do well. Can't guarantee that. Do your own research. But it's got a good Discord following. It's got a good Twitter following. You can see here it's got 36,000 on Twitter. If I bring up Discord, let's take a look. There's currently 37,000 members and just under 7,000 online. And the website itself, they've got quite a nice roadmap. The artwork is quite cutesy. I think it will appeal to a lot of people. So I think this project will do well. Their mint price is going to be 0.11 ETH, so it's not the cheapest one, but I think this project will do well. And you guys, do your own research, see if this is something that's interest to you. You can see that they've got their roadmap, and there's some information about the team, but really they, I don't know if they're fully doxed or not, because I've got some names here, so maybe they have been doxed, because normally people just put in this, they'll give themselves a nickname, so for them to actually put in their real name, hopefully is a positive sign as well. So that's the project that I'm going to be taking part in the pre-sale later today, and this officially launches. Let me see if I can find the launch date here. No, that's the Walls one. Let's take a look. Do they tell us? Scroll down there. I'm sure there'll be a tweet. Here we go. October the 11th at 8:30 p.m. EST. So October the 11th is Monday. So if you're in the UK, that's actually going to be Tuesday at 1:30 a.m. So if you fancy a late night on Monday or an early morning Tuesday, I think 1:30 a.m. I think that's the correct conversion. So if you want to join in that launch, that is when that is taking place. But I expect it to be heavy demand. If you're not about that time of day, just check it out on OpenSea the next day to see where things are going. Also, see what the pre-sale looks like. If we're all taking part in this pre-sale later today, you'll be able to see on Monday how much volume is being resold on OpenSea to get a feel for this project. So hopefully you found this video useful. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button if you're going to be diving into the NFT space, make sure you watch the video that I'm going to pop up in front of me now. It warns you about all of the latest scams in the NFT space. And if you want to see more from me, subscribe to the channel.